Good afternoon, and welcome to this public meeting of the University of Pittsburgh Board of Trustees. Chairperson Costello is unable to join us today, therefore I will be chairing the meeting in my capacity as chairperson-elect. We had the opportunity to honor Lou at our in-person meeting in April, but I want to again express how truly appreciative we are for Lou stepping in as chairperson and all he's done for the board and for the university. Thank you, Lou. This meeting has been advertised, duly advertised as a public meeting in accordance with the Sunshine Act and is therefore open to members of the public as observers. This meeting is also being streamed on the university's YouTube channel. The meeting is being recorded and will later be made available via the Board of Trustees website. A quorum is present for a transaction of business today. Participation in the meeting is limited to members of the board and to those the board has invited in advance to take part. I would like to acknowledge and welcome our ex officio trustees attending today. Governor Shapiro's designee, Representative Dan Frankel. Representative Frankel, welcome. Before moving into our agenda, I would like to note that this is a special meeting of the board today. Our primary purpose today is to consider enacting the recommendations of the Governance and Nominating Committee, which will allow us to operationalize the governance changes with the start of our new fiscal year, which will begin on July 1st. Based on this work, we have increased and will continue to increase the number of board meetings we hold. While the board has traditionally met 3 times per year, today represents our 6th meeting this fiscal year. With trustees from across the country volunteering to serve, we leverage video conferencing when necessary to conduct the board's business in a timely fashion. That's why we're meeting. That's why our meeting, I should say, is virtual today instead of in person. With that, I'd like to move on in our agenda for the approval of the minutes from the April 4th, 2024 Board of Trustees public meeting. Those minutes were circulated in advance of today's meeting and were included in our meeting materials. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any comments or corrections? All those in favor, please by signaling aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. The minutes are approved as written. Now I'd like to move on to agenda item 3, and it is the report of our chancellor. And at this time, I'll ask Chancellor Gable to share her report with us. Joe?
Thank you, Chair-elect Urbanek. Members of the board, I'm pleased to be with you this afternoon. There is much to update you on since my last report in April. As I begin, I want to recognize the loss of 3-time Swanson School alum and Marquette University president Michael Lovell, who passed away recently too soon at the age of 57. I also want to recognize the loss of 3 of our trustee emeriti. On May 18th, Emeritus Trustee and former H.J. Heinz Company Chairman and CEO Sir Anthony J.F. O'Reilly passed away in Dublin, Ireland at the age of 88. On June 15th, Trustee Emeritus and our friend Cy Holzer, who served as a stalwart member of this board for 21 years, passed away at the age of 75. Cy also served on the Board of Visitors for our School of Pharmacy and the Katz Graduate School of Business and played a critically important leadership role in helping to launch the UPMC Hillman Cancer Center. And Emeritus Trustee Carol Rubenstein also passed away on June 15th at the age of 94. And of his 16 years of service to this board, 3 years of his service to Pitt were served as chair. And on May 28th, in celebration of life here at Pitt, for Emeritus Trustee and our 225th anniversary medallion honoree, Jim Roddy, we recognized him and our community came together in a fitting tribute to someone whose impact and legacy live on in countless ways. If we could have a moment of silence in recognition of the loss of our friends. Members of the board, we also celebrated our 2024 graduates at a commencement ceremony on April 28th, where Governor Shapiro spoke and handed his daughter's scroll to her. And our trustee, John Surma, gave the commencement speech. And he spoke of how his career has been defined by showing up. It was an incredible theme, not the proverbial 75%, but 99.99% of the time. And how for him that has made all the difference. So we were incredibly proud of our graduates, many of whom did not get to have a high school graduation because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And we wish them the very best in their next steps. And we are very grateful to Trustee Surma for sharing his wisdom with them. I have some recent events I want to update you on. We want to acknowledge the demonstrations on campus and across the nation. To this end, first and foremost, the university affirms the free speech rights of our community, our students, faculty, and staff, and works on an ongoing basis to provide continuing education to our community about those rights and responsibilities. We continue to examine and explore the complicated intersection between rights to free speech and the needs of our campus community, and we are always listening and learning on how we can do better going forward. This is part of the reason why we've extended the year of discourse and dialogue to a second year, because we know how challenging but vitally important this work is. And you'll see more from the Office of the Provost and the leaders of that work as we head into the fall. And we've been working this summer on a lot of different planning to prepare for upcoming events this fall. In other important work, members of the board, I'm pleased to note that we reached an agreement with our faculty union, which demonstrates the university's commitment to our outstanding faculty and our shared commitment to providing a high-quality, world-class education to our students, at which, of course, the faculty are the cornerstone. And we look forward to building upon the collaborative relationship established by the parties during these negotiations, including through our labor relations initiative, which is outlined in the updates to our strategic plan. We also continue to engage in Harrisburg, including through discussions with lawmakers and with the governor's office. We expect negotiations around the state's budget to ramp up in the coming days and weeks, and we'll keep you updated as that process continues. And we've also had a number of leadership announcements recently. First, Dwayne Pinkney, who is a graduate of GSBIA, will return to his alma mater later this summer as the University of Pittsburgh's Executive Senior Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance and Chief Financial Officer, pending board approval. Dr. Pinkney comes to us most recently from Indiana University, where he serves as the inaugural Executive Vice President for Finance and Administration and leads the Finance and Administration organization. Prior to this role, he worked at Virginia Tech University and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill as the Senior Vice President and Chief Business Officer and the Chief Financial Officer and Senior Associate Vice Chancellor for Finance and Administration, respectively. My thanks to Search Chair Javette Washington and Senior Vice Chancellor and Chief Legal Officer and all the members of the Search Committee. I'm also pleased that Dr. Carla Panzella has been named Vice Provost for Student Affairs effective June 1st. As you may know, Carla's been serving as interim vice provost since January of 2024. Prior to that assignment, she served as the Dean of Students since August 2021 and as associate vice provost since December 2022. My sincere appreciation to the search committee co-chaired by Nicola Foote, who is the Dean of the David C. Frederick Honors College, and Clyde Wilson Pickett, Vice Chancellor for Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. With Carla's elevation to Vice Provost, the Division of Student Affairs will begin a national search for a new Dean of Students, with thanks to Lorraine Craven, who is serving as the interim Dean. We've also recently announced two new deans. Ebony Zamani Gallagher was named the new Renee and Richard Goldman Dean of the School of Education, effective May 1st. Ebony has served as interim dean of the school since August, and prior to that, she served as associate dean at the University of Illinois. She came to Pitt in 2022, where she was previously director for the Office for Community College Research and Leadership and associate head of the Department of Education Policy, Organization, and Leadership Office. My sincere thanks to the search committee chairs, Vice Provost Lu-Win Wang and Dean of the School of Social Work, Betsy Farmer. We've also named Michelle Manuel as the new U.S. Steel Dean of the University of Pittsburgh's Quanson School of Engineering, effective September 1st, 2024. It's fitting that the U.S. Steel Dean position will be held by an accomplished metallurgist who has a strong history of industrial connections and innovation successes. She holds more than 20 patents. She's a well-respected scholar. She comes to us with numerous national and international accolades, notably including election to the National Academy of Engineering and recognition as a PCASE, or Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers recipient, which is awarded to only about 100 candidates nationally each year across all fields of science, technology, and engineering. She's also an accomplished administrator who's managed a large department with 35 faculty and 2 academic programs for 7 years. Both programs rank in the top 25, and the structure at her current institution has allowed her to be fiscally responsible for managing her own P&L, which will set her up well given our new budget model progression. So we're greatly appreciative of the co-chairs of that search committee, Adam Leibovich, the Dean of the Dietrich School of Arts and Sciences and the College of General Studies, and Steve Wisniewski, who is the Vice Provost for Budget and Analytics. And lastly, another of our dean searches is heating up. The School of Law Dean Search Committee has been formed and is being co-chaired by Jean Anderson, Dean of the Catt School of Graduate School of Business and College of Business Administration, and Carissa Slaughterback, Dean of the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs. Thanks to trustees John Gismondi and Mike Fisher for serving on the search committee, along with many of our law school faculty, staff, students, and alumni. That position profile has been developed and candidate recruitment is underway. And lastly, I would like to close with a few shout outs. A shout out to Graham Hatfill from the Department of Biological Sciences, who was elected to the National Academy of Sciences. A shout out to Deborah Polk in dental medicine and Ben Van Houten in medicine for being named fellows of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. A shout out to members of the Pitt community who were elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences, anthropology professor Elizabeth Arkush, Avent Professor of Biological Sciences Jeffrey Brodsky, Distinguished Professor of Pathology Wang Cheng, and Distinguished Microbiology and Medical Genetics Professor Patrick Moore. A shout out to 2 of our alums, Brandon Som and Brett Murphy, for being honored with 2024 Pulitzer Prizes, 1 in poetry and 1 in public service, respectively. A shout out to Pitt football, which saw 3 football players selected to the 2024 NFL draft. And we're so excited that the city of Pittsburgh will host the draft in 2026. A shout out to our continued top 10 position in NIH funding for fiscal year 2023. Pitt was ranked number 6 amongst U.S. universities in National Institute of Health funding with $658.3 million. And Pitt's Department of Psychiatry ranked number 1 amongst all psychiatry departments in the nation with more than $118 million in funding. Overall, Pitt ranked in the top 10 in 11 different fields. And our NSF ranking is a key outcome in the plan for Pitt 2028. And that concludes my report. Mr. Chairperson-elect.
Thank you, Chancellor. Having just passed the summer solstice, and it's a time where perhaps the tempo on campus sometimes gets a little slower. That report and the scope of it is anything but that. So thank you for all that good work. As we move on in the agenda and into committee reports, we have one today from our Governance and Nominating Committee, and a key purpose for why we are joined in this special meeting today. And I just want to take an opportunity to recognize the Governance and Nominating Committee and David Shavern, who has ably led that committee over what has been nearly 2 years worth of tremendous work. And we're all very, very grateful and thankful. I'd also like to recognize when discussing this work product and how much there was Tom Hitter of the Office of General Counsel. He was just a tremendous resource in this process, and was very helpful in realizing the work product that we are now presented with today. So with that, David, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I also would like to extend my thanks to the entire committee who put in a tremendous amount of work over the whole course of this process. And also Tom Hitter and Paul Supowitz, who just did tremendous effort in keeping us on track and online. So this is the final elements of the implementation of the governance review process. And with that, at the February 8th meeting, The board charged the Governance Nominating Committee with revising the university's bylaws and preparing new committee charters to implement a series of improvements to board governance. To prepare the materials as charged, the committee conducted a thorough process that included soliciting feedback from members of the board and the university administration. Earlier today, the committee voted to recommend the revisions to Chapter 1 of the bylaws and the new committee charters, which would take effect on July 1st, 2024. Additionally, the committee voted to recommend the election of 5 individuals to the status of emeritus trustee and the election of 1 individual to join the board as a term trustee. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson-elect. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, David. Are there any questions for David? Hearing none, we will move on to our action items. And I believe the first in that line is yours, Chancellor. Election of university officers. Yeah. There you go.
Thank you. Included with your materials is a resolution electing Dwayne Pinkney as Executive Senior Vice Chancellor for Administration and Finance and Chief Financial Officer. Dwayne Pinkney is a 1987 alumnus of the Graduate School of Public and International Affairs and comes to us from Indiana University, where he serves as the inaugural Executive Vice President for Finance and Administration. Prior to this role, he worked at Virginia Tech as the Senior Vice President for Operations and Administration and the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill as the Chief Financial Officer. My sincere thanks to Search Chair Javette Washington and all the members of the Search Committee.
Thank you, Chancellor. And with that, is there a motion to elect Dr. Pinkney to serve as Executive Senior Vice Chancellor and Chief Financial Officer?
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second? Thank you.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please by signaling aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. The resolution to elect Dr. Pinkney is adopted, and we will look forward to welcoming Dwayne shortly here to Oakland. Moving on from there in our agenda, we will move to our next action. And for that, I will turn it over again to David Shaver, Chair of our Governance and Nominating Committee, for the first resolution. David?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the resolution recommended by the Governance and Nominating Committee, which revises Chapter 1 of the University bylaws and adopts new committee charters, with both actions effective on July 1st, 2024.
Thank you, Chairman Shavern. Is there a second for his motion? Having heard it, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signal with an aye.
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 Opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. The resolution is adopted, and congratulations to our Gov Nom team. For our third action today and last, David, I believe you have a resolution.
Yes, I move that the Board of Trustees adopt the resolution recommended by the Governance and Nominating Committee, which elects John A. Barber, Louis R. Costello, S. Jeffrey Condis, Marley S. Myers, and John H. Pelusi Jr. to the status of Emeritus Trustees, and further elects Kevin Wade to serve as a term trustee in the 2024 to 2028 class.
Thank you, David. Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
Having heard it, any discussion? Before voting, I will note that there are a number of current trustees that are on the call who were just brought forward as emeritus. And we will record for those individuals your your vote as an abstention. So don't worry about shouting out. And with that, I will ask all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Any additional abstentions? Thank you. The resolution is adopted. And on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the university as a whole, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to our emeriti trustees and to David Shabern and also Ed Greffenstedt, who's with us today, our able chairman of the investment committee, who will wrap up their service on the board at the end of the month. We will, I'm sure, see more of them, but end of the month will be the end of their term. So thank you all for what has been tremendous service by both of you, for which we owe you a great debt of gratitude. With that, I'll ask if there's any additional business to come before the board today. Hearing none, we stand adjourned.
Thank you all. Have a great day.